talk to me. WSRadio.com.
Welcome back to Countdown to College Radio with your host, Beth Pickett.
Thank you for tuning in. This segment of the show is brought to you by hippocampus.org, a free online educational resource offering interactive, multimedia courses in algebra, calculus, history, biology, and more. You can visit them online at hippocampus.org. Every year, I get calls from high school seniors who are filling out college applications. In the area where the colleges ask for the SAT or ACT scores, there is also often an optional question asking about a student's scores on the TOEFL exam, more commonly known as the TOEFL. What is the TOEFL? Who needs to take it? And how do the colleges use this information? Here to tell us all about the TOEFL is Eileen Tyson, Director of Global Client Relations for ETS, the educational testing service, which creates and oversees administration of the TOEFL test. Welcome, Eileen.
Hi, Beth. Thanks for having me on the show.
Thanks for coming on. We just need to start with the basics. TOEFL stands for what?
It stands for the Test of English as a Foreign Language. And it was created to help students who are not native speakers of English to show universities and colleges that their English is strong enough to succeed in a college environment.
And by succeeding in a college environment, we mean that they can sit in a lecture and listen to it and understand what's happening, that their English is that fluent.
Absolutely.
So that means that all those students who are native English speakers, looking at that blank on their college applications, have said, what is your score in the TOEFL? They don't need to worry about it.
That's right. They wouldn't need to take a TOEFL. It's for students whose language is not English, whose first language is not English.
So let's then, for those students who do need to take English, the test of English as a foreign language, what is the top score on the TOEFL? I know the SAT has a top combined score of 2,400. ACT top composite score is 36. What is the top score on the TOEFL exam?
Well, the top score would be 120. There are 4 sections on the TOEFL test, and each section is worth up to 30 points.
And what would those 4 sections be then? Let's go take a look at what we would find if we sat down to take the TOEFL.
Sure. They'd be listening, reading, writing, and speaking.
I'm writing that down so that I can make sure to know those a little bit later. So listening, reading, writing, speaking. Of course, that basically covers it. That's really interesting. Okay, so let's break those down then. The listening component. You have the students who are in the middle of the test put on a headset and listen to a CD. How does that work?
The students do wear a headset. They also have a microphone that they will be using in the speaking section. But during the listening section, they're listening through their headset to a lecture, and they will answer questions in response. Sometimes it's a lecture, sometimes it's a spoken conversation between 2 or 3 individuals.
It sounds like it's very well suited to really what you'll be looking for them to do in the college setting. Listen to conversations, listen to a lecture.
Well, when we created the new version of the TOEFL test, which we offered in 2005, we went to universities and we said, what is it that students really need to know in order to be successful from an English language perspective on the test? So we made sure that the test mirrored as closely as possible to what students really need to do in the classrooms in English. So that includes listening to lectures, and part of the test involves listening, and then they read something, and then they have to speak about what they read and what they heard. We really want students to be able to communicate well.
So here I am. I'm listening with my headset to the lecture or a conversation, and then are there multiple choice questions about what I've just heard?
In the listening section, yes. They'll be responding with multiple choice questions.
And is it a computer-based test, or is it on paper, or do you offer both versions?
Beth, about 96% of the testing we do is computer-based. In some parts of the world, we still offer the paper-based version, but just about everyone is taking the internet-based version of the test.
Okay, and does that internet version have a different name than the paper version?
Yes, we do simply refer to them as the internet-based TOEFL or the paper-based TOEFL.
So I've seen the IBT, that would be
Yep,
the internet-based
that's
TOEFL?
right, TOEFL IBT.
Okay, so let's back up again. We did the listening, reading. Then they're in this other section of the test. They've done the listening, now they're into reading. They've got paragraphs from a textbook?
That's right. ETS draws its materials from college-level materials that a freshman would find in their academic courses. So we've pitched it carefully so that it is very similar to what they're going to find when they go to college.
And they read a passage, and would this be similar to the reading comprehension on the SAT, where they have read a passage and then have to ask about what's the main topic and details about the reading?
Yes, but keep in mind that on the SAT, on the TOEFL, we're measuring a student's knowledge of English proficiency. The SAT critical reading section measures different things. They're not only asking the student to read, but they're asking them to show their ability to reason based on what they've read. So they do measure related but different skills.
So there's more comprehension, basically, on the TOEFL and less of the analysis expected from the student.
That's right.
The writing component, and I'm sorry to go back to the SAT and the ACT, but I'm so familiar with those that it helps me to have a benchmark. The SAT and the ACT have essays that the student writes and it gets turned in and it gets graded. What's the writing component like on the TOEFL?
On the TOEFL, we ask students to write 2 essays. One of them is where we ask a student to write about their opinion or their experience. And the second one is one of the new types of questions we have on the TOEFL, and we're really pretty proud of. It asks them to combine their skills. So a student will listen to a short lecture, read a short piece of information related, and then write about what they read and what they heard, much as they have to do in a classroom for a professor.
So they're really having to combine all these skills in a useful way.
That's right. The combining of skills is really what makes TOEFL so helpful as an English proficiency test.
And then the speaking component. Now, I remember back when I took the SAT, a whole room full of people. How do you do a speaking component with an entire room full of people? I would imagine there would be a lot of not chit-chat, but so many people talking it might be hard for some students to concentrate. How does that work logistically?
It is a challenge, and the way we manage it is by making sure that the headsets that the students are wearing is noise reducing, so that as they're focusing on what they're listening to, they don't have to be hearing other students as well.
Boy, there's a lot of logistics involved in giving this test all over the world.
That's right.
Students who are sitting for this test, then, they've got reading, writing, listening, speaking. How long should they plan to sit? How long does it take to get through an entire TOEFL exam? And do they do it in one sitting or several sittings? How long does it take?
Well, the students are given up to 4 hours to complete the test. If they finish sooner, they can leave earlier. But we do allow up to 4 hours. And then we encourage students to plan on, another half hour just for checking in to the test center, showing your identification, getting your photograph taken, and so on.
Up to 4 hours. Does that mean that if a student, each section, back we go to the SAT, you start one section and they say, open your book now, stop now, and you can't go ahead until they say that it's time to start. In the TOEFL, can they go start to finish at their own pace then? That's right.
Now, each section has a specific amount of time that they are given for each section, but if you finish your section early, you can just move right on to the next portion of the test.
Okay, so you can't spend more than a particular amount of time, but you can spend less and then go on.
That's right. Which is nice for students, that, it helps them feel that, they are more in control of how long this process is going to take.
Does a student who is taking the TOEFL, should they be familiar with any particular literary works in English, be familiar with Shakespeare or Dickens or any modern writers to understand those sorts of versions, older versions of the English language, or are we just talking modern English?
Because the TOEFL is intending to measure English proficiency, we're not counting on any information, on the student knowing in advance, Dickens or Shakespeare. Everything the student needs to know in order to answer the questions well will be right in that reading passage or right in the listening comprehension section, and we don't assume any knowledge in advance.
I understand if a student is living in India or China or Japan or any of the other many countries where TOEFL is offered, why they would be taking the TOEFL. It seems to me a little bit of a gray area if a student has been living in the U.S. or another English-speaking country and they've been speaking English for several years. When do you know when you are beyond the TOEFL, that you don't really need to take the TOEFL because you are so fluent? How do you know when you've passed that sort of... Is that a gray area? You know what? We've got our last minute until we take a break, so we'll start this answer. We'll probably continue it after the break.
Sounds good. Beth, I think you've hit on really the most important question for students who are in the United States already and have done some of their high school in the U.S., the question of should I take TOEFL or should I not? The first thing I would recommend is talk to your college. Find out what their requirements are. Because in the United States, as you know, colleges have very different requirements. And my experience is that some colleges will say if a student has done a year of high school in the U.S., then TOEFL's not required. Some will say 2 years. The best course of action is to check with the college and find out what they want. Because, at ETS, we don't want students taking tests they don't have to. But we do want students to take tests that are going to, show their abilities and, give them the best shot at university admission.
We need to take a short break, and then we'll be back with more with Eileen Tyson on the TOEFL exam. Archives of all the Countdown to College radio show interviews are available for listening or download 24/7 at countdowntocollegeradio.com. I'm Beth Pickett on WSRadio.com, the worldwide leader in Internet talk.
Thinking of heading to college? Choosing the college that's best for you and one that's affordable can be challenging. Make the smartest decision you can with a personal college cost and planning report tailored exclusively to you. Each report assesses your eligibility of over $100 billion of student aid, estimates your out-of-pocket cost, and provides a detailed side-by-side comparison of your colleges of interest. You'll even understand what your monthly student loan repayments after graduation may be. Visit studentaid.com or call 877-71-STUDENT today. Announcing a new way of generating income on the Internet that will sound too good to be true. That's why we're providing a free 7-day trial. .ws is a top-level domain that stands for website and can be accessed worldwide. It's ideal for your personal or family website, your organization's, or your small business. Finally, get the domain name you've always wanted. Each .ws domain name comes with website hosting, 10 individual email addresses, and website templates to create a website in minutes. Plus, and here's the exciting part, through this offer, you can become an affiliate and make money helping others get their own website. Even better, this can provide ongoing residual income. We said it would seem too good to be true, and that's why we're offering a free 7-day test drive. Log on now to radio.ws. What a cool domain name for radio. That's www.radio.ws.
Destination Imagination is an extraordinary after-school program in creativity and teamwork for every child. In fact, Destination Imagination could be the most important journey your kid makes this year or any year. Parents and teachers, start a Destination Imagination team by calling 888-321-1503 or visit DestinationImagination.org. That's DestinationImagination.org.
At OnlineLabels.com, they're giving away 10 free sheets of shipping labels to eBay users with a feedback of 25 or more. With this exclusive offer, you can choose from one of 5 popular shipping label sizes that are compatible with eBay, PayPal, and U.S. postal shipping systems. So if you're tired of taping postage to your boxes, visit OnlineLabels.com/radio and claim your 10 sheets of shipping labels for free. Not only does OnlineLabels.com have shipping labels, they have over 140 popular label configurations available in 30 different label materials. Whether you're looking for address labels, CD labels, circle labels, or even the hard-to-find waterproof labels, they've got them. As a bonus, when you place an order with OnlineLabels.com, you'll get a free activation code for their exclusive online label software, Maestro Label Designer. Find the perfect label for your business at OnlineLabels.com, where buying and printing labels labels is as easy as click, print, stick.